Even Jesus cries. Hello and happy Sunday, and welcome to another episode of Coffee and Rosaries with Father Pat, March 26th, 2023. Today's Gospel is being recorded a day ahead of time. Right now, I'm at the LaGuardia Airport Marriott. It's Saturday evening, and I am attending the USA Martial Arts Hall of Fame as one of the honorees. Grandmaster Thomas runs an excellent organization, runs a number of these regional awards dinners across the country. He does a lot of very, very good work. In reading today's gospel, well, this is one of the big miracles that Christ is known for, raising the dead. And there's a couple of things that I noticed when reading this gospel. And the first one was, why did Christ wait 2 days after learning about how sick Lazarus was to head over to his hometown, to his home? Well, first of all, Lazarus and his family, Mary, a few others, were very close to him. On this earth, the apostles, there were a few friends very, very close to Christ. He loved them as family. He cared a lot for Lazarus. Lazarus was a very, very good friend, loved the man dearly. So it seems a little strange that when he finds out that Lazarus was very sick, that he waited 2 days before leaving on a journey to go heal him. Now, first of all, Christ knew that he could raise Lazarus from the dead, could heal the sick. But he waited a couple days because, well, he actually waited for Lazarus to die. That sounds cruel. But Christ wanted there to be no doubt in everyone's mind that he truly raised the dead. So, after receiving the news, waited a couple days and engaged on the journey and went to Lazarus' home. And by that time, Lazarus had already been dead for 4 days. So Christ goes to the grave of Lazarus and asks that the stone be rolled aside. And they said, well, he's been dead for 4 days. Probably not a good idea. They didn't have embalming fluid back then. He said, roll it aside. And when they rolled the stone aside, I'm sure everyone in attendance got a whiff of proof that Lazarus was no longer alive. No doubt in anybody's mind. So he then prayed, asked his father, and yes, Lazarus arose and walked out of the grave, leaving no doubt in anybody's mind that this was truly a miracle. So he wanted to wait just to make sure that Lazarus was dead, that he was long time dead, that people would understand this to truly be a miracle. Now, there's an old definition that I heard a while ago called a dead ringer. Now, Christ wanted to make sure that Lazarus was not a dead ringer. See, back in the 17 and 1800s, they had a great idea. See, unfortunately, people would be comatose, they would appear dead, and they would be buried alive. People would regain consciousness inside the coffin, buried underground. Not a good thing. So they had this great idea. They would attach a string to the person's hand. The string would come up to the surface, and it would be attached to a bell. If a person was inside that coffin and regained consciousness, they would pull on the string, the bell would ring, and then they would proceed to exhume the coffin of a person that was still alive. So Christ waited a couple days because he wanted to make sure everybody understood that Lazarus was not a dead ringer, that he had truly passed on. He wasn't asleep, wasn't some kind of disease, was not comatose. No doubt in anybody's mind. One of the greatest miracles that he ever performed. The other part about the gospel that I found fascinating is that when Christ found out that Lazarus was in such a bad state, that he was near death, Christ cried. Christ knew he could raise Lazarus from the dead. He knew he could do it 4 days a week, a month after he passed. And yet he cried anyway. He felt sad for all that Lazarus was going through. I want you to think about what we go through in our everyday lives. There are people that need our help. There are people in bad situations. And there are people that we reach out to give them the help they need. We know that we can help them. We know that they're going to get through that situation just fine. And yet, we're sad. We cry for them. We feel pain for the emotional suffering that they go through. Just means that we're people who care, that we're taking care of someone we love, and even though we can get them through the situation, we can help them. We truly, truly wish that they never had to go through that situation to begin with. If a person needs surgery, we are sad for them, even if it's routine. If a person is broke or loses their job, we will try to help them. We'll try to find them a new job. We'll try to get them some money if they need. But we do feel sad. We understand that they go through pain, and we sympathize with that pain. And that is a very good thing. That is compassion. That is love. So I hope that anyone around you in a state of need, help them all you can, but also be compassionate towards them. If they're in need of money, help them to the best that you can. But don't just, okay, here's your money, go away. Feel for them. Be compassionate towards them. Love them. If a person is going through surgery, pray for them, be with them during their recovery, even if it is something simple. They're going through pain. And the compassion that you feel towards them, one, makes us who we are, makes us truly people of God. But that compassion that you show towards them, they will know that they are loved. They know that they will be healed. See, a little secret to everyone. I told everybody that I am far from perfect. Even though I wear this collar, far from it. A couple of years ago, this little scar on my neck, I don't know if you can see it, I had to have my cervical spine operated on. And there was a bit of danger involved. There was always a chance that, one slip of a scalpel and, I could be a quadriplegic in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. Everybody else was sad. I'm not sure they cried, but they definitely were sad, and they definitely were compassionate for me. But, I knew God was going to bring me through this. I knew I was going to be better than ever by the time I was done. Something I felt in my soul. So, that's actually Master Thomas passing by. The guy's running around like a maniac, trying to get everything done. A lot of good people here. Let me get back on track. But a lot of people were very compassionate towards me. I knew I was going to get through it. I felt it. I felt it in my soul. I felt that God was with me. Got through it. I healed. I'm better than ever. But they did feel sad. Now, when we hear about Christ crying, I'll tell you what I think about. I think about the old phrase, men don't cry. Oh no, men don't cry. No, it's not manly. It's not grown up. Children cry. But Christ himself cried. You know, when I read about crying, not only is it a good way to express emotions, a good way to keep emotions from being bottled up. Even the tears that we cry contain toxins. So we're actually making ourselves healthier. There's nothing wrong with crying. It expresses how we feel. It expresses who we are. And if Jesus Christ can cry, knowing that he can raise someone from the dead, we can cry as well when we're sad, even tears of joy. And I will tell you, yes, I cry too. Sometimes I'm sad, and sometimes I need to express my emotions. Sometimes I cry for people when they're down, when they're going through a lot. Sometimes I cry during prayer. There are people I know that are going through a lot, and it makes me very sad. And I express that sadness. If Christ can cry, I can cry too. So, if anybody says it's not a manly thing to do, it's not a grown-up thing to do, remember, Christ cried. Christ shed tears. Okay? So for today, not quite Sunday, March 26, 2023, this is Father Pat with Coffee and Rosaries saying, once again, as always, love one another as God loves you.